Who are the worst scamming YouTubers? Let's find out. Starting with number 11, Kayla Massa. Kayla Massa is known as K Goldie to her followers. Back in 2021, the feds decided to cut her hustle short. Why? Well, turns out she was running a scam that left many of her followers lighter in their pockets, to the tune of over $1.5 million. So like, a lot lighter. The con was a classic bait and switch. K Goldie would flaunt pictures of cash on her socials with captions like, "If you have a bank account and are trying to make some bread, DM me. Serious people only." The hustle? She got her followers to slide into her DMs with their bank info, promising to send them a sweet sum of cash. But instead of delivering on the promise, she blocked them and scammed them. According to authorities and as reported by CBS Philly, K Goldie deposited phony checks made in the names of legitimate businesses and swiftly withdrew the cash. This alleged scam operation involved not just her, but also 9 accomplices, and they managed to rake in over $1.5 million. K Goldie seems to have hit the brakes on her YouTube uploads, and her Instagram account has mysteriously vanished. Maybe she's taking a hiatus from social media while her legal drama unfolds. Or maybe she's busy just getting herself arrested again for the same thing, leaving another 51 victims scammed out of $623,000. As of the release of this video, there hasn't been any public details on her newest case of fraud back in February of 2023. Number 10, Cole Carrigan. Cole Carrigan, a makeup artist with a penchant for both contouring and controversy, was known for his work and some public spats with the likes of Austin McBroom and Cameron Dallas. Cole's journey took a mysterious turn as he seemingly disappeared from the online scene. But that's not all. There was an alleged scam that left followers with more questions than answers. In 2020, Cole rolled out a Pay for Shoutouts campaign that raised more than a few well-groomed eyebrows. For a crisp Benjamin or two, anyone could bask in the glory of a shoutout on Cole's feed, with promises of social media growth and promotion. Sounds like a glam deal, right? However, as the beauty community buzzed with anticipation, suspicions began to surface. According to Dextero, some followers claimed they shelled out cash but received nothing in return. To add drama to the mix, Cole allegedly hit them with the ultimate beauty block, leaving them high and dry. Dextero revealed that the sketchy vibes reached new heights when Cole insisted on payments under the family and friends system on PayPal rather than the usual business transaction route. It didn't take long for the online community to suggest that something wasn't quite right in the world of Cole Carrigan. A Reddit thread became the virtual courtroom for those allegedly left in the makeup dust with unfulfilled orders. If these complaints hold water, it looks like Cole might have made off with a bag full of cash. Number 9. Ice Poseidon. Paul Danino, better known as Ice Poseidon, is a streamer who's no stranger to controversy. Starting out on Twitch with old-school RuneScape and later finding a new home on YouTube with over 730,000 subscribers, Ice Poseidon's journey took a rocky turn when he got the boot from Twitch back in 2017. Controversies including incidents of swatting, where people try to get SWAT to break into someone's house by calling in fake threats. Yeah, it's a bad idea. And run-ins with the law marked his career. However, it was in 2021 that he allegedly took his antics to a whole new level with his own cryptocurrency, CX Coin. In what can only be described as a crypto roller coaster, Ice Poseidon urged his fans to invest in CX Coin, touting it as a long-term project. But after just 2 weeks of hype, he made a sudden move. The streamer decided it was time to cash out, selling off his CX Coin holdings and triggering a catastrophic nosedive in the coin's value. The scheme, often referred to as a pump and dump, involves creating hype around his crypto, artificially inflating its value with his followers' investments, and then quickly selling it all off. In the end, Ice Poseidon walked away with a cool $300,000, while the developers pocketed an additional $200,000. When confronted about the alleged scam, Ice Poseidon was unapologetic, telling YouTuber CoffeeZilla that sometimes you have to look out for yourself. And he's not wrong, but watching out for yourself doesn't mean you should step on others in order to do it. Eventually, someone's going to step on you. Number 8. Omi in a Hellcat. Bill Omar Carrasquillo, a man known to over 800,000 subscribers as Omi in a Hellcat, was a New Jersey sensation that wasn't just flaunting luxury cars and bling. He was making big bucks through some shady business. Omi in a Hellcat was living the dream with his massive YouTube following, showcasing a lifestyle that most could only dream of. But as they say, all that glitters isn't gold. The YouTube star got in big trouble when federal prosecutors threw the book at him for a TV piracy scam that reportedly raked in over $30 million. According to the United States Department of Justice, Omi ran an underground streaming empire from 2016 to 2019, snagging cable TV accounts on the down low and then reselling the copyrighted content to thousands of subscribers. His fans were shelling out $15 a month for a taste of retransmitted cable signals from various companies. The wealth that fueled his opulent lifestyle allegedly stemmed from this illicit operation, eventually landing him on the FBI's radar. Facing charges ranging from conspiracy to violating the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, Omi was staring down the barrel of a potential 514-year prison sentence. Fast forward to 2022, and the plot thickened when Fox 29 Philadelphia reported that our YouTube maverick decided to cut a deal, pleading guilty to some of the charges. Details of the punishment remain sealed. That said, he was forced to auction off his Lambo and Eagles Super Bowl ring to help pay down the roughly $45 million he owes. Number 7. The McBrooms. Austin McBroom, the man behind the Ace family, with a whopping 18.4 million subscribers, you'd think Austin had it all figured out. But oh boy, his journey has been far from smooth. Back in 2016, Austin and his wife Catherine kicked off the Ace family, sharing their family adventures to the delight of millions. However, fame comes with its fair share of troubles, and Austin found himself in hot water not once, twice in 2021. First up, the city of Beverly Hills slapped Austin with a $200,000 lawsuit for orchestrating an unsanctioned parade. And we all know that there's no greater menace to society than a parade. But that was just the warm-up. Austin's grand venture into the boxing world with Social Gloves, the epic YouTubers versus TikTokers showdown, became a saga of its own. Despite delivering a knockout performance against TikTok star Bryce Hall, Austin faced allegations of not keeping his promises when it came to paying the fighters and investors. LiveX Live threw a $100 million defamation lawsuit his way, and NBA star James Harden joined the party with a $2 million lawsuit. Eventually, Forbes spilled the tea that Austin settled both lawsuits. LiveX Live coughed up a $3 million payout to cover a fraction of the unpaid event expenses, and James Harden's settlement amount remained a well-guarded secret. But hey, Austin didn't have a terrible idea for his boxing match. Who doesn't want to see annoying YouTubers and TikTokers get punched? We mean, like, other YouTubers. And the drama doesn't stop at Austin. His wife, Catherine McBroom, has had her fair share of controversy. In 2021, Catherine decided to spread some love with a Valentine's Day giveaway on Instagram. 3 shiny Tesla Model 3 cars were up for grabs. However, as reported by Sportskeeda, skeptics flooded the comments, suggesting the giveaway might be more smoke and mirrors than a genuine act of generosity. There was a lot of talk of non-existent winners and a potential scam, but the McBroom family remained tight-lipped on the matter. But that's not the end of Catherine's escapades. A few months later, her cosmetics brand, 1212 Gateway, became the talk of the town, as Catherine flaunted her beauty products on Instagram. Entertainment news website Dexerto spilled the tea on customer complaints rolling in. Some users said the products were disgusting, while others claimed that issues with their orders were met with unsatisfactory resolutions or compensation. Cue the scam allegations echoing across social media. Then, a $30 million lawsuit hit Catherine like a ton of crummy eyeshadow palettes. TBL Cosmetics Inc. accused her of trying to take over the company in violation of their contract. Insider reported that Catherine denied any wrongdoing, but the legal battle ended with her reportedly losing the case and shelling out $76,300 in damages. Number 6. Alysa Violet. Alysa Violet is a social media sensation with a knack for controversy. From Vine fame to YouTube stardom, Alysa made quite a name for herself, and not just for her entertaining content. Back in the day, Alysa rose to prominence on Vine, sort of an ancient TikTok, with her quirky 6-second videos amassing a cool 600,000 followers before the app's untimely demise. But fear not, because Alysa seamlessly transitioned to YouTube, where she now boasts over 3.6 million followers and a hefty net worth. However, it's not not all glitz and glamour for this social media maven. Everything was good until Alysa Violet found herself at the center of a scandal involving a Louis Vuitton giveaway. Teaming up with her now defunct partner company, Cheek, Alyssa took to Instagram, flaunting a sea of luxury Louis Vuitton merchandise and enticing her followers with promises of free Louis Vuitton bags. All they had to do was follow Cheek, tag 2 friends in the comments, voila, they could potentially be the proud owners of some high-end arm candy. But, and there's always a but, winners of the giveaway claim they never received their coveted prizes. BuzzFeed News jumped into the ring, reporting that messages to both Alyssa and Cheek went unanswered. To add fuel to the fire, Cheek eventually folded, disqualifying 2 winners based on age and non-U.S. citizenship. Details conveniently left out before the giveaway frenzy. While Alysa Violet remained silent about the alleged scam, Cheek stepped up to deny the accusations. They're also not a company these days, so there's that. It's also a little continent, right? Number 5. Thomas Petru. Thomas Petru is a social media mogul who turned a Los Angeles mansion into an influencer paradise. Petru, with over 1.8 million subscribers on his personal YouTube channel, skyrocketed to fame before co-founding The Hype House, content creation collective with nearly 20 million followers on TikTok, and even its own Netflix show. But as we all know, sometimes success gets served with a side of controversy. In the grand tradition of influencers turned entrepreneurs, Petru and The Hype House ventured into the world of merchandising, including their coveted hype chain in 2020. The faux diamond-studded beauty, initially marketed as free with a supposed value of $100, had fans buzzing with excitement. But the sweetness of the deal was met with claims of a not-so-glamorous shipping surprise. According to reports by Paper, the chain's alleged value took a backseat to exorbitant shipping costs. Twitter erupted with complaints, as some complained their shipping fees hit around $20, while others argued that shipping from LA to various addresses across the country should have cost significantly less. It seemed like the free chain might have come with some hidden expenses. Controversy led many to question whether apparently aptly named hype chain was nothing more than a cleverly disguised free plus shipping scheme. As of now, it's available for $20 with free shipping, and it looks like something that used to come in cereal boxes. Number 4. Aiden Ross. Aiden Ross is a Twitch and YouTube sensation who wasn't just about gameplay. He was also about some crypto controversy. With over millions of followers on YouTube and a Twitch channel filled with adrenaline-pumping Grand Theft Auto 5 streams, Aiden Ross had built an empire on the digital frontier. However, his entry into crypto went like you'd expect. In a now-deleted tweet from 2021, Ross announced a $10,000 giveaway of MILF token, a crypto coin that raised more than a few eyebrows. The catch? Participants had to provide proof of holding any amount of MILF token in their wallets to qualify. This eyebrow-raising promotion, as reported by Sportskeeda, had earned Aiden a cool $200,000. But as we've come to expect, where there's crypto, there's usually drama. The MILF token giveaway, initially hyped up by Aiden, took a turn when the value of the token spiked and primary investors allegedly engaged in another pump-and-dump scheme. Accusations flew, and at first, Aiden Ross denied any involvement in the alleged crypto shenanigans. But then Aiden's true colors emerged in a Twitch stream that left viewers in shock. In a candid moment caught on stream, Aiden Ross spilled the crypto tea with a smirk, explaining that he told people not to buy the MILF token and that he made a bunch of money to promote it. He added that he didn't care but hoped nobody actually bought it. But we didn't see him trying to make the issue right either. Number 3. Jake Paul. And finally, let's talk about Jake Paul, a YouTube powerhouse and professional boxer who's no stranger to glitz, glamour, and controversy of the digital realm. With a massive following of over 20 million subscribers on YouTube, Jake not only conquered the virtual landscape, but has also stepped into the boxing ring, adding to his ever-evolving media empire. Jake Paul mastered the art of making headlines through controversy, and in 2022, he found himself in a little more controversy than he'd like, with allegations of lying to investors about SafeMoon, another crypto coin. This led to a class action lawsuit against a lineup of influencers, including Jake Paul, Nick Carter, Lil Yachty, and Soulja Boy. We know. We were heartbroken when we heard Soulja Boy was mentioned too. All you huge Soulja Boy fans out there, we'll get through it together. Anyway, the plot thickened when CoffeeZilla, the internet's vigilant scam tracker, uncovered the financial web surrounding Jake Paul's involvement with SafeMoon. A massive payment of $190,000 to Paul raised eyebrows, hinting hinting at a shady crypto promotion deal. That wasn't the end of the crypto saga. CoffeeZilla unraveled a whopping $2.2 million in promotions and payments initially concealed from the public eye. So why is that a big issue? Jake Paul is allowed to make money, right? Well, it wasn't that Jake Paul was backing this crypto coin. It was the lack of disclosure. None of his posts carried the crucial sponsored ads label, so his followers believed this was something Paul was endorsing because he believed in it, not because he was getting paid to believe in it. This raised suspicions of multiple pump and dump schemes involving various tokens, including Sade Moon, Yummy, Milk Token, and more. As of this video, the Safe Moon lawsuit is hanging in the balance, and Jake Paul, the social media provocateur, continues to dance on the line between fame and infamy. So what's the takeaway from all this? To remember that influencers are exactly that. Influencers, not decision makers. They're for inspiration only. And if they tell you to do something, do your own research first. Never believe what someone else says if it goes against your own good sense. And if it's too good to be true, it is. And probably just stay away from crypto. It's the currency of scammers. Number 2, Beam Squad. Billy B. Altador, and Ebony Eva Lewis were the masterminds behind the YouTube sensation Beam Squad. This duo didn't just stir up laughs with their pranks and challenges. They also got caught up in some serious trouble before hitting the YouTube big leagues. Back in 2016, Beam Squad burst onto the scene, captivating millions of their subscribers with their family-centric content. Little did their fans know that the roots of this fame were entangled with a shady past. In a video titled The End of Beam Squad, final update, couple decided to spill the beans on their pre-YouTube escapades. Billy B dropped the bombshell, admitting that he had a side hustle, but that the side hustle was less like a side hustle and something more like identity theft. Meanwhile, Eva confessed to letting some illegal money flow into her bank account back in 2014. Apparently, the dynamic duo had accessed the Social Security Administration site, snatching personal information from unsuspecting victims to reroute benefit payments straight into their own accounts. But they weren't content with just stealing Social Security from the elderly. The pair also cooked up another scheme, filing false tax documents to snag hefty refunds they weren't owed. Fast forward to 2019, and the law caught up with them. Billy B and Eva pleaded guilty to conspiracy and aggravated identity theft, earning themselves a one-way ticket to the slammer. The United States Department of Justice dished out the verdict: 2 years for Billy B and a year plus a day for Eva. If you're enjoying this video, be sure to stay right here to find out how this TikToker found out why she shouldn't share everything on social media. Number 1, FaZe Banks. FaZe Banks, a gaming sensation known for being good at first-person shooters, also made headlines for stirring up some serious drama in the crypto world. FaZe Banks, whose real name is Richard Ricky Bankston, rode the wave of success with FaZe Clan, turning it into a powerhouse esports organization. In 2021, FaZe Clan got in trouble. Several members were suspended and fired over an alleged pump-and-dump crypto scheme. Plot revolved around a token named Save the Kids, supposedly designed to aid needy children. However, it turned out to be more of a money-making venture for FaZe Clan than a charitable effort to help kids in need. FaZe Banks, in a Twitter thread, distanced himself from the mess, denying any involvement in the alleged scam. But then Banks was soon caught up in another crypto storm. John Wingate, CEO of Banks Social, dropped a bomb, accusing FaZe Banks of taking an undisclosed payment without delivering on the promotion deal he had inked with the crypto company. According to Wingate, FaZe Banks and crew pumped and dumped the altcoin, leaving the deal in shambles. Wingate spilled the crypto tea to Mashable, saying that the crew pumped it and then they dumped it and then backed out of the deal. However, in classic FaZe Banks style, he took to Twitter to defend himself, claiming he never sold a single token and insisted that his wallet remains an open book. Crimes are always more fun when the criminals aren't the brightest bulbs in the pack. Let's buckle up for this one and start with number 6. Don't mind if I do. Marielys Valencia Martinez stole about $32,000 worth of jewels from a man she visited in Miami. Martinez flew to meet the man after they had spoken online for about 2 months. Martinez first noticed the man's jewels when he put 2 diamond rings and a diamond bracelet in a clear plastic bag as they were parking his car. Apparently, there was a sign suggesting that people shouldn't leave their valuables in their car, so, of course, he couldn't be leaving diamond rings and diamond bracelets, you know? Especially if he wasn't planning on wearing them. And it's not like he could just leave them at home or something. Doesn't everyone just drive around with thousands of dollars in jewelry they're not wearing? Anyway, during the date, Martinez asked the guy if she could wear the jewelry and wanted to know how much it was worth and how much it would sell for, because questions like that aren't suspicious at all. The guy didn't tell her any details concerning the price, but allowed her to wear the jewelry anyway. The two of them went to a nightclub and returned home, where Martinez gave it all back. The guy took the rings and the bracelet and placed them in a box on the shelf in his room. Early the next morning, Martinez woke the guy up and asked him to take her back to the airport, which he did. Before leaving the hotel, he saw the box on the shelf and assumed the jewels were still in it. Unbeknownst to him, Martinez had done a little creative housekeeping, and by creative housekeeping we mean she stole the jewels. A few days later, the guy saw her using the jewels to record videos on TikTok. It must have took him a few days to notice his diamonds were stolen. He texted her through WhatsApp and asked her to send them back. Martinez refused and told him that she would send them back whenever she returned to Miami. Her excuse was that it was too expensive to send them back, which is a pretty good excuse if you're 5 years old. However, Martinez didn't return to Miami at the time she promised she would. But when she did return, she was arrested. The guy reported her to authorities, so they had been on the lookout. Once she flew into Fort Lauderdale, her goose was cooked. Unfortunately, we don't know if this arrest will result in the victim getting his jewelry back. Maybe don't bring expensive jewelry you're not wearing on your next date, huh? Number 5. Double check the insurance. Uloma Curry Walker hired teenagers to bump off her husband because she wanted to benefit from his life insurance. She was married to Fire Department Lieutenant William Walker for just 4 months. It must have been bliss, since she was already planning to end the marriage by becoming a widow and inheriting everything he had. Uloma was thousands of dollars in debt and was nearing financial ruin. William didn't know about this debt, and he also didn't know that Uloma wasn't actually suffering from the stage 4 breast cancer she'd claimed to have, but he was figuring it out. So, what did our enterprising future widow-in-chief do to get her husband bumped off? She did what any reasonable person would have done. She spoke to her 17-year-old daughter. Her daughter then told her 20-year-old boyfriend, Chad Paget, about it. Paget told Uloma that he could get the job done, but he needed some payment. She decided to pay him $1,000 up front and said she would pay him the rest after the job was completed. However, the 20-year-old Paget surprisingly wasn't exactly accomplished at what he was hired to do, so he decided to farm the job out to another guy named Chris Hine. Hine initially accepted the job, but then brought in yet another co-conspirator, Ryan Doherty. This co-conspirator seemed to be the most willing to do the job, and he only asked for a meager fee of $800. The reason Uloma hired the boys to do the job was because she thought nobody would think she did it, because who in their right mind would think she'd hire a bunch of actual kids to go after her husband? In any case, the deed was eventually done. Doherty fatally ambushed William as he went out to get his fake cancer-having wife fast food. Uloma, who must have a huge hole in the place where her conscience lives, rode with William in the ambulance as he was transported to the hospital. Uloma's big plan was to get William's life insurance benefits, but had overlooked a tiny detail. She wasn't the beneficiary of the life insurance. Instead, William's ex-wife was the beneficiary. For some reason, William hadn't gotten around to changing the name on the benefits from his ex-wife to his new wife, probably because he wasn't expecting his new wife to plan his demise. Not only did Uloma not get the life insurance money, but she also got arrested by the police. The police offered plea deals to Uloma's co-conspirators, and they took it, even if her daughter testified against her at trial. In return for the plea deals, Hine, Paget, and Doherty all got reduced life sentences. Uloma, on the other hand, was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. But she's single, right? What a catch. Number 4. Caught on camera. Haley Barlow reported to her insurance company that her car had been stolen. But what she left out of the report was that she was the one who towed it away and then set it on fire. Barlow told the police that she'd woken up one morning and discovered that her car keys had been stolen and her car was nowhere to be found. She then went on to make a $2,000 claim for the apparent theft. But things quickly turned into a junkyard fire for Barlow. The police found the car and discovered that it had been set alight. Then they found out that the burnt front car didn't have an engine. They returned to Barlow, who insisted that the car was in its proper working condition before it was stolen. Honestly, promise. Unfortunately for her, that claim wasn't enough to keep those pesky coppers from snooping around, sticking their noses in everyone's business. The police eventually found CCTV footage that showed the car being towed by a tow truck with Barlow sitting right inside it. This was all the evidence needed to prove that our little victim was actually an arsonist fraudster. Further investigations revealed that Barlow had paid the driver of the tow truck about 20 pounds. After the car was towed to another location, she then used a can of butane gas to set the vehicle on fire. Barlow was eventually arrested and charged. She pleaded guilty to fraud and claimed that she had carried out the scam because of debts and the amount of money and repairs the car was costing her. Therefore, she saw setting the car on fire and getting insurance funds for it as her only option. Police said that the actions of people like Barlow weren't only criminal, but also constituted a wildfire risk. The fire from her vehicle had caught the dry undergrowth on the road, and the fire had spread a considerable distance away from the car. Thankfully, it went out before it had the chance to spread to the farms and fields nearby. You were driving a VW, Haley. You probably could have just waited a few more days and it would have caught fire on its own. Number 3, not seeing the problem. A supposedly blind Italian man scammed the government of thousands of euros in benefits before he was caught window shopping and driving. Our lovable fake blind man got about 144,000 euros over 13 years from the Italian government with a fake sob story. He claimed that he became blind in 2008 due to a congenital problem. Unfortunately for our blind guy, and perhaps fortunately for the Italian government, he just couldn't keep this lie going for long. 10 years after he declared blindness, he decided to apply for a driver's license. This alerted the police, who decided to check in on him. They don't typically like blind people driving because it's dangerous or whatever. So either he'd suddenly gotten cured of his blindness because the thoughts and prayers finally worked, or he was just a careless liar. As it turned out, he was just a careless liar, even though our money was on the thoughts and prayers working. The police staked out his apartment and saw him riding a scooter. They also saw him doing things that blind people generally find time to do, such as driving a car, looking at your phone while driving, looking at shop windows, and teaching a child how to ride a bike. Incidentally, the blind man wasn't unknown to the police. He had only recently received a jail sentence of nearly 15 years for being part of a group that staged fake traffic accidents for insurance payouts, which again is the sort of thing you would expect a blind man to do. Lastly, the police discovered that the man was already financially stable as he owned a garage. Despite that, he still collected a basic income that the authorities only give its poorest citizens. We can't really hate on a guy pretending to be blind. We pretend to be deaf all the time. Please stop playing with the dinosaur bones. This is a museum. What? Number 2, double dipping. Marina Golfo tricked her bosses at the City Department of Education into giving her 3 months of sick leave while she served time in prison for defrauding taxpayers and students. While she was in prison, Marina was paid over $24,000 by the Department of Education. Her journey to conviction and imprisonment began when she defrauded taxpayers of over $150,000 through a program that served developmentally challenged children. For 3 years, Marina submitted forged treatment notes and invoices to the program claiming payment for over 1,500 therapy sessions she never actually provided. But the program eventually found out what Marina was doing, and she was arrested and sentenced to 3 months in prison. She was also asked to pay restitution for all the money she'd collected from the program. But our scammer wasn't about to go gently into that good night. She had one more trick up her sleeve. Once in prison, Marina sent a letter to the Department of Education asking for paid sick leave. She included a doctor's note in her request claiming that she was too sick to come to work and should remain at home. After that, she submitted requests to prison and court officials asking for compassionate release before her time in prison was served. Her reason was the COVID-19 pandemic and her elderly parents needed a caretaker. The court refused and said her arguments didn't hold up. At the same time, Marina's requested time for sick paid leave was coming to an end. So she did the smart thing and requested more sick leave, and the department approved the request. They had no idea that Marina was a jailbird and not a sick bird. And it gets even better. The Department of Education initially knew of Marina's arrest. The arrest was widely reported, and she had even been reassigned from her primary position in the department in anticipation of her sentencing. When Marina was eventually sentenced, she simply informed no one, and no one bothered to check. The Human Resources Division of the department had no idea that Marina was requesting sick leave from jail, so they granted it. But this gig couldn't go on for long. After Marina served her time in prison, someone who wasn't minding their own business informed the department about her stint in prison prison, and she was eventually fired. According to Marina, she had done absolutely nothing wrong. She claimed that while in prison, she suffered complications from shingles, so she would have been unable to go to work even if she hadn't been in prison. So her request for sick leave was valid since she wouldn't have been able to go to work anyway. What a coincidence! However, it doesn't seem like Marina will get away with her scam, as the Department of Education has requested a refund of all the monies it paid out. She has also been banned from doing any further work for the department. Looks like Marina taught her last lesson. Just because you're accurate doesn't mean you're right. Number 1. Grandma and the BBL. Tiffany Acuna stands accused of using the credit card of an Alzheimer's patient to pay for her cosmetic surgery. When the theft occurred, Tiffany worked as a certified nursing assistant and was tending to an 88-year-old. The fraud itself was simple. Tiffany merely took the credit card information of her patient and used it to purchase a Brazilian butt lift, J-plasma, and arm lipo procedures. The husband of the victim in this case contacted the fraud department of his bank when he received a bill for over $7,000 in his wife's name. The department told him that the bill was for cosmetic surgery. He didn't believe his 88-year-old wife would be getting a Brazilian butt lift, so he immediately knew something was wrong, and he probably was also a little disappointed. The victim's husband then contacted the agency that Tiffany worked for, and she was immediately fired. But that was only the first of her headaches. Tiffany contacted the victim's husband to set up a repayment plan. She wanted to sign a loan agreement that would mandate her to pay $1,000 monthly. She might have done this because she was in nursing school and wanted to avoid criminal charges. Unfortunately for her, the police weren't having any of that. They went to the victim's house and waited for Tiffany to show up. When the nursing scammer arrived with $1,500 in cash and a loan repayment agreement, she was ambushed by the police, who took her into custody. With all those cosmetic surgeries, there's probably a couple online careers you'll be able to fall back on, Tiffany. Click to watch one of these next videos. Let us know in the comments section what you'd rather have. Be able to hang out for a weekend with anyone in history, or $500,000 cash.